Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I make Mega Construx and Mega Blocks custom builds. And this one in particular is my Halo Combat Evolved Spirit Dropship. I try to keep the figures and the accessories as game accurate as possible, and I hope you guys like it, so let's break it down. Here's a side profile of the dropship. Now, it's got two doors on the side that can hold about 5 to 6 troops. Easy. This setup was heavily inspired by Mega Construx Halo 5 Spirit Dropship and Goodwill Hunter's Halo War Spirit Dropship, but I had to have the Halo CE version because I'm a huge fan of Halo Combat Evolved. It's not as large as the Halo 5 Spirit, but I think I kept the size pretty decent. I made the base out of some parts from the Minions Castle, a few sand base plates, which I'm not quite sure where it came from, but the green base plates I used came from I want to say it's like a bunch of orange Spartans versus Prometheans. Now here's a better look at the front. I used energy swords in the middle to create that glowing effect in the middle, and I know that the smaller circles that I used here didn't come with the Phantom, as well as some of the gray parts here in the front, but the rest of the build is mainly the Phantom. As you can see here, I gave it some lean. Not as much as the Halo 5 dropship leans, but I didn't want it too crazy low to the ground. I'm pretty content with the way that I built the ends of the troop base, but I would have liked if I had some gray discs instead of these clear blue ones. Both side doors open, and when I spin it around, we can get a better look at the inside. Now the doors are kind of flat. I did have a more rounded door, but I ended up accidentally melting the bricks, but we don't like to talk about that. But I replaced most of the parts. The side areas are very spacious, and like I said, I can fit up to like 5 or 6 figures. I don't really like to fit like a lot of them in there. I usually keep it down to like maybe 3 troops per side. The super articulated grunts fit inside, as well as the larger elite size figures. I can't fit hunters inside, but can't win them all. The accessories also fit in there perfectly as well, which I'll show in a moment. But while we're at this angle, let's talk about the base. Now, it's kind of square, but I think it kind of gives off that rocky feel that the Combat Evolved mountainous regions where the beacons towers were kind of had. Now here you can see that the shield and the weapons crate fit inside very well, and you can fit about 2 more figures in there with them. And it all just closes up inside there really neat. I tried to detail the side doors kind of like the game has it, but I don't have a lot of smooth parts, so I ended up having to keep it studs. But in my opinion, I think it looks pretty decent. Here is a good look at the other side. The turret can rotate downward and upward. It cannot spin around. Now, all I'd have to do is add a 2x2 spinning plate for that, but I didn't have any on hand at the time. I tried to keep it T-shaped like the game, and I think I did a pretty good job with the parts that I had on hand. Now, I was trying to stick to all Phantom parts for this, so when I got to the gray parts, I was kind of running low, so the cockpit was a big challenge, but I ended up building it upside down, and I think it turned out really well. And it pulls open all the way so that you can see the inside, which I will show you here in a second. But here is it fully lifted. Some of you may not have noticed, but the Spirit Dropship is almost exactly the same as the Phantom, just with a split troop bay, and it flies backwards. Here's the cockpit. There's not much to see. I've got 2 seats in there, and it's pretty spacious. And it just closes like this, nice and smooth. I use those rounded smooth bricks to get a good smooth carapace going on the back of it. Now, here's a better look at the energy swords that I used in the middle to create that light effect. I would have liked to use more energy swords, but I was running low at the time, so maybe in the future. Here's a look at everything with it taken off of the stand. The turret itself can't retract into the build, so you have to take it off if you ever take it off the stand. But it's all pretty neat, and I like it. If you guys would like a tutorial or a time-lapse video, let me know in the comments below. Now for the future, I have a Halo Reach dropship planned, but that's going to be much bigger, and I'm going to have to use a actual Halo 5 Spirit dropship set for that. I ended up using 2 Dawn Grunts just because they're the perfect shade of orange, and one is using a plasma pistol and a plasma grenade, and the other is using a kneeler. I like to keep a little variation in my figures, and I think it looks neat. I use the green stands for the Covenant figures that I have because I use the sand brown ones for the UNSC figures that I have in my setups. I really love the size and the articulation on these guys. They can do so much. But moving on, I've kind of Frankensteined an elite together here using, I want to say, a blue team older articulation elite head with the blue drop pod elite body, and the arms are from Fireteam Castle members. I used yellow for the forearms because the elites in Combat Evolved and Halo 2, they have these yellow details on their arms and legs. Now, I didn't really have any yellow legs to do that, but I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out, and it's really giving me the nostalgia from Halo Combat Evolved. I also used a painted plasma rifle from, I want to say it was a weapons pack that I got a while back that had a yellow elite in it. Now, everything you see here is all made from stock parts, no paint or no modifications. I did, however, mix the Mega Blocks and Mega Construx license, but I don't think that's a sin here. But moving on. Next we have our Blue Shield Jackal, which is using a plasma pistol. Now, this Jackal in particular is really special because he is super articulated. I customized him using a Stormbound ODST chest and the Storm Elite arms, and I used the old style Jackal head and the old style Jackal legs and his shield to complete this whole figure. I think he looks really accurate, and I hope to see some of you guys replicating this if you enjoy it. There's a whole world of things that you can do with posing these as opposed to the older figures that they had. And at some point, I'd like to get another Stormbound ODST chest so that I can create a Yellow Shield Jackal. Now, they just recently came out with a pack of brown ODSTs versus Visor Brutes, and I think their bodies would make a good brown Jackal as well from Halo 2. So keep that in mind. You can make these guys pose like they're running away from the Master Chief, and that is one of my favorite things about these. Or they could be running away from the Flood, which you may or may not see on my channel later. Subscribe and find out. Up next we have my ammo crate, which doesn't hold anything, but I think it looks a lot closer to the Reach and Combat Evolved Anniversary version than the crates that we were given before. I also modified the bottom of the portable energy shield so that it can look a little bit more like the original version, which was more flat. So anyway, this is my Halo Combat Evolved Spirit, and I hope you guys like it. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. And build on, Mega Construx Beyonders.